Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Team Macaulay coming to another video. Today we got some more VGC 17 battles here on the battle spot with the Torkoal Sun team that I've been running these past few days. So no will gonna be used today. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna switch it out. I've got some ideas of what I'm gonna switch in. So I'm gonna look at some move sets, some EV spreads, and everything. Look at the meta and see what I need to help me out. I've got some ideas, so hopefully I'll be able to get that. Think of something, get it in game, be able to use it soon. So we're just gonna get into this one. You guys are in for some treats today. And my first opponent had a team of Tapu Lele, Arcanine, Ninetales, Garchomp, Magnezone, and Gastrodon. So definitely didn't want to bring that Gastrodon, even though I did have Torkoal. He's too scared of the Tapu Bulu. Just get one shot. So the Ninetales here is going to be interesting. I definitely don't want it setting up an Aurora Veil. And the thing, my Torkoal isn't going to be hitting too much for super effective damage. So I was debating bringing Drompa instead, but I was like, well, I definitely need Torkoal to be able to fight off that Ninetales, just win the Weather War, so I can't set up those free Aurora Veils. So Tapu Bulu definitely had to come here for that Gastrodon. And Salamence could come in handy for a nuke, depending on for that Gastrodon if Tapu Bulu goes down to whatever. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Always got to be careful of that Poison Jab from Garchomp as well. I lead with Salamence or Ringaroo, so I can set up the Trick Room, do a possible nuke, see what my opponent's going to do. He leads with Tapu Lele and Arcanine. So this isn't too bad of a position for me. There's not, like, I can just go straight for a Draco Meteor or Devastating Drake. The Tapu Lele definitely does threaten my Salamence. I do get nice Intimidate off on that Arcanine. So if it is physical, it's not going to be doing much damage. He also intimidates me, but that's fine. I got two special attackers here. And he's going to set up the terrain, so I don't have to be scared of a Psychic Z move. So I just straight up go for a nuke, since the only Fairy type Pokemon he had was already out on the field. Going for a Devastating Drake on the Arcanine was pretty free. And he didn't protect, so I'm like, well, this is going to do a decent amount of damage. Hopefully it'll pick up the knockout. It'd be really, really nice if I just pick up the knockout outright. Since Arcanine is a big tank and we do pick up the knockout, it is a critical hit. I'm not sure if that mattered. We would have at least brought him really, really low. We do see a taunt from the Tapu Lele, so he was predicting the Trick Room, but I do carry the Mental Herb, so that is going to be a free Trick Room for me. So a very nice turn one. I was kind of hoping he would have gone for the Moonblast and the Salamence to knock it out, so I just get a free switch in. But he's going to bring in the Ninetales here, which definitely scares me because now my Salamence is being threatened by two of his Pokemon. So he is going to set up the Hail, and here I'm like, I definitely don't want him setting up an Aurora Veil, especially with his Pokemon so healthy. So I switch out my Oranguru for Torkoal, because I'm like, well, he's most likely going to attack into the Salamence slot, so if I switch it into the Oranguru, I'm not going to take too much damage. And he actually ends up withdrawing Ninetales as well, going into Garchomp, so most likely thinking that I was going to protect with my Salamence or whatever. And here he goes for the Z move. Was like, oh, it's the Psychic. Actually, no, I noticed that animation because I used the Fairy Z move during the campaign or the story mode, whatever you want to call it. So he actually goes for the Twinkle Tackle, and I'm like, oh, so he must have been going into the Rangaroo slot because a solid Moonblast would probably do the trick on Salamence. So sure enough, he does go. Luckily, Torkoal does resist this. My special defense isn't the highest, but it's still going to be nice and resisted. So his Z move wasn't as effective as mine, didn't pick up the one-hit knockout. And my Flamethrower into the Garchomp is not going to pick up the burn. But I'm still in a decent spot because I do have Trick Room up. So I bring in Tapu Bulu here. One, just in case he goes for an Earthquake, and two, so he can't go for a Psychic into the Torkoal. It'll be less damage. And he actually ends up switching out the Garchomp again, so he's just switching back and forth in that slot. So he's actually really lucky I didn't go for... Well, I guess an Eruption probably wouldn't have picked up the knockout since he did change the weather. But that puts him in a really good spot. But he didn't know I had Tapu Bulu, so he just got kind of lucky there. And I go for Protect. And we do see the Moonblast into the Salamence slot. So actually fine, I decided to prioritize it a little bit. And I do get the special attack drop. Not too big of a deal. Assault Vest, Tapu Bulu coming in handy right there. Eating that up. It's going to be a 3-hit KO. So lots of animations going on here with the Hail, and then we're going to see the Grassy Terrain recovery. So here I'm going to I'm in an interesting position because Eruption, like if my Torkoal was at full health and I had a Ring Brew, I could Eruption Instruct and I'd easily pick up a double knockout. But since Torkoal's so low, I can't really go for an Eruption, so I just go for the safe Flamethrower into the Ninetales. And like if it's not Focus Sash, it's going down, but it actually survived, which really surprised me. And I went for the Wood Hammer into the Tapu Lele. I was like, well, if one protects, I should pick up a knockout on the other. But I do take a lot of recoil here, and I'm like, hopefully he doesn't go for a Blizzard. There he sets up the Aurora Veil. If I knew he wasn't going to protect and he was going to try and set up that Aurora Veil, I would have double targeted that slot, obviously. But luckily, he has Garchomp, and I also have Salamence. So if I can bring in my Salamence while now his Garchomp's going to be out. He only has 2 Pokemon left. Once I bring in Salamence, he'll be intimidated. Hopefully a Draco Meteor will be enough to pick up the knockout. So I just got to be careful of that since Ninetales and Garchomp threaten my Salamence in the back. I also have a Ringru, so if worse comes worse, I could go like I could Dragon Pulse Instruct. But I go for the Flamethrower on the Ninetales. I'm like, if I could just get the Garchomp alone, there's not too much he's going to be able to do against my Tapu Lulu unless he's got Poison Jab. So I go for Nature's Madness since he does have the Aurora Veil up. I'm like, well, that's probably the most damage I'm going to be able to do. Cut his health in half. And at this point, I'm like, a Draco Meteor should pick up the knockout. And here he goes for Rock Slide. So I'm like, I wonder if he's Choice Scarf then. Since, because, I mean, obviously the flinches are nice, but since Trick Room's still up, there's no point in going for Rock Slide. So here I'm like, I wonder if he's Scarf then. And he's just going to be locked into Rock Slide. So, still going to stick around. Both my Pokemon are sticking around for another turn. And here I got Hidden Power Ice with Torkoal to be able to hit the Garchomp with. But the Trick Room's going to end. So at this point, unless if there's a Rock Slide miss, it's not, or it's going to be over. So Tapu Bulu is going to hang on. So that's 17 HP. At this, Tapu Bulu is just so tanky now. I'm okay with Torkoal going down. I go for a Horn Leech here just to see how much damage I do. And it almost picks up the knockout. So here I'm like, I don't know if Hail's going to pick up the knockout on this guy. But at this point, it's not really going to matter. Since I'm going to be able to bring in Salamence and just be able to pick up the knockout unless he gets a crit on me with like a Dragon Dance or a Dragon Claw or an Outrage or something. So he's barely going to hang on with the Hail. But the Grassy Turn is going to end before... I think the Grassy Terrain ends before the Hail does. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. But here I just bring in Salamence, which is going to pick up go for the Intimidate. And at this point, there's not really anything he can do. Because if he goes for a Dragon Claw into Salamence, then I win with Tapu Bulu. But he goes for Rock Slide, so I'm pretty sure he was Scarfed. So he's just kind of in a bad spot. I go for Dragon Pulse here instead of Draco Meteor. No point in risking the miss. And that's going to be a game right there. So a very interesting game. I got pretty lucky with that Arcanine knockout at the beginning of the game because he didn't really have any answer to my Tapu Bulu. I mean, the Ninetales, yeah, but he just never really got around to using it, especially since I had Trick Room and Torkoal on the field. I really threatened that Ninetales. So, interesting, or pretty solid game one. I definitely made some mistakes. I could have done some things a little bit better. But Nature's Madness, Assault Vest, just really bulky Tapu Bulu coming through right there. Luckily, that Garchomp, well, I guess it's not necessarily lucky, because once I got the Nature's Madness off, that pretty much sealed the deal. Because even if you picked up the knockout, that just would have been a free switch into my Salamence or my Oranguru, and I could have just done, there was a bunch of stuff I could have done. I had Hidden Power Ice with Torkoal, I had a whole bunch of things. So, at the end of the day, not that I didn't really get that lucky, but him not protecting at the beginning with Arcanine, just letting it go down like that, pretty nice for me. Kind of set me up to win that one. So I really enjoy the Devastating Drake. Really, really powerful. And you don't get the special attack drop after using it if it's on top of or if it's a Z Draco Meteor. So that's really nice. So we're gonna go ahead and move into this next battle. A very, very, very interesting team. My opponent had a team of Politoed, Golisopod, Vikavolt, Oranguru, Araquanid, and Delmi. So a rain-oriented team. Also a trick team. He has the Araquanid, which is really, really slow. The Vikavolt, I believe, is also slow. Delmi is pretty slow. So possible Trick Room team here. So I was debating not even bringing my Oranguru just because I was like, well, if he sets up the Trick Room for me, that's perfect. And Drampa and Torkoal would be really nice here. But I'm pretty much forced to bring the same Pokemon as I brought last time. Because Torkoal, I need it to be able to combat the weather. I need Tapu Bulu to deal with the water types he has with the Politoed, with the potential Oranguru as well. I can get a Nature's Madness off, so good. And he's going to be able to eat up the water type moves. And then Salaman's here is going to be good since he's got some physical attackers, mainly the Golisopod and the Araquanid and the Delmise. I think, yeah, Vikavolt special, I believe. So just a nice Intimidate, a nice nuke with the Devastating Drake as well. So with this one, I'm not as confident. Like whenever you use a Sun team and you're going up against a Rain team, it's a little bit of a problem since you don't know what to expect. Since technically the Rain team should beat you. So but the Torkoal was definitely needed to combat the Rain. So he leads with Golisopod and Politoed, and I believe summons Torkoal, which is perfect because my Torkoal was definitely slower than his Politoed. So that means the sun is going to be up, and I'm going to be taking reduced damage from water type moves. I get the Intimidate off on this Golisopod, so if it goes for a first impression or an Aqua Jet, it's not going to do that much damage to Torkoal since I do have pretty good special or physical defense as well. So yeah, he protects with Politoed. I was like, this would be a good opportunity to go for a Devastating Drink since he doesn't have any Fairy type Pokemon. And we do see the Aqua Jet here, and you're gonna see how little it does. He's at -1, sun's up. But so I go for the Devastating Drake into the Politoed, thinking I don't know if it'll protect. I don't know or he might switch. I was thinking I'd just be able to get a bunch of free damage off here in turn 1. So that's what I do. I go for it into the Politoed slot, thinking I just didn't know if he'd be expecting it either. This does nothing. I was actually really surprised at how little it does. So that was just kind of a big waste of the Devastating Drake. And here I go for Eruption. It's going to be neutral on the Golisopod, so it's going to definitely bring it at least below 50%. It does about 60% right there, and he's going to get Emergency exited out, and he's going to bring in a Oranguru. So I'm like, okay, so this is interesting. If he's I don't know if he's going to go for like a Muddy Water Instruct or if he's going to go for a Trick Room, but he ends up switching out Politoed here into the Golisopod again. I was like, dang it, why didn't I just go for an Eruption again? And I switch out my Torkoal because I didn't want to take any more damage since I was already pretty low. So I bring in Tapu Bulu, predicting some sort of water type move into that slot. So it's going to bring up the Grassy Terrain, which is going to be nice recovery for Torkoal when he comes back in. I go for Flamethrower since it is going to be a little bit stronger than Dragon Pulse because of the sun. And he does end up setting the Trick Room. So I thought that was interesting on his part. At this point, I don't know what he has in the back, so it could be it has to be a slow Pokemon in the back. But I don't know how fast Golisopod is either. I know it gets Aqua Jet. I know it gets First Impression, which are priority moves. I don't know how fast its base speed is or not. So here he's going for a First Impression. Decent damage. I go for a Hornleech here. I was like, maybe he'll bring in the Politoed, predicting a Flamethrower into that slot. So if he did, I was going to punish him with a Hornleech and most likely pick up the knockout. And his Oranguru sets up Reflect, which isn't too bad. It's most likely going to allow his Politoed to survive a Hornleech. And so here's why I go for a Dragon Pulse, predicting that Politoed switch in. And that's just bare. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. You got to be kidding me. So Golisopod is going to stick around for one more turn. I don't know what it's going to be able to do to me this next turn. Here I'm like, he's definitely going to bring in the Politoed since the Oranguru is getting low and to be able to boost like some sort of water type move. But he just goes for a Leech Life onto Tapu Bulu, which is going to do a respectable amount of damage. And he's going to heal up a little bit. But it's still going to be nice for me. I go for Wood Hammer into the Oranguru since he just set up the Reflect. I was like, Hornleech probably won't pick up the knockout, but the extra damage from Wood Hammer will. So I pick up a double knockout here with the Wood Hammer Dragon Pulse. And here I'm feeling like I'm in a pretty good spot since he does have Politoed in the back, so Politoed's going to come in. I also have Torkoal in the back, so once I bring in Torkoal, I win the Weather War. So we just see he did have Politoed, which was obvious, and the last Pokemon he had was Vikavolt. So I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. I don't know how fast Vikavolt is either. I didn't even bother looking it up. But so the Drizzle's going to come back up, which doesn't affect me since I'm not going to be going for any fire type moves. So I'm in a nice position here. Here I'm predicting the Polito to go for a protect. He just goes full offense. Look at that assault vest Tapu Buu. I'm telling you guys. So I go for a Stone Edge here, which isn't going to do too much thanks to the reflect. If Nature's Madness would have been better. Well, Hornleech and the Polito would have been best, but I survive with both my Pokemon on just a sliver of HP. I try and pick up the knockout onto this Vikable. I was expecting Stone Edge to do a little bit more. I guess I don't know how tanky Vikable is either, but of course he's got the Wiki Berry, so he's going to eat that up. Really unfortunate, but I'm still not in too bad of a spot. With what I have in the back, there's not going to be too much I'm able to do to Politoed, but here I'm like, okay, I'll just let both my Pokemon go down. They're both too low to really do anything. I can't like how slow Vikable is. Being a bug, I would have expected it to be a little bit faster, but there's no point in keeping around either of these Pokemon at such low health. I guess maybe when Trick Room expired, but there's no point in switching in my other Pokemon so he could deal some free damage. So Trick Room's going to expire here, and the grass is going to disappear. But now I have Torkoal and a Rangaroo in the back. So this is a close spot, a very tricky situation. So because Vikable is going to be able to floor my Rangaroo, I'm pretty sure, with a Bug Buzz or with whatever it has. So I'm like, I'll just go for Protector since he's most likely going to target that. There's not going to be too much he's going to be able to do to Torkoal. So his Politoed actually ends up going for Perish Song here, most likely predicting me to go for a Trick Room. So I was like, oh, it's an interesting choice. So he does end up going for Bug Buzz there, and I just go for a Flamethrower. I didn't know if he was going to Scald me. I was expecting like a Scald into Torkoal and some sort of Bug type move into a Rangaroo. So interestingly enough, for those of you who don't know, so now there's no switching out going on with Perish Song. With Perish Song, the slowest, so since these are our remaining Pokemon, the slowest Pokemon on the field is going to win. Or in other words, since Torkoal is the slowest Pokemon on the field, if I can stall this out, I'm going to win. Because it's the last Pokemon to faint, which means that I would win. So I was actually really surprised here when he went for the Protect. I was like, oh, that's actually perfect for me. I went for double offense just to see if I could pick up the knockout. Because he'd have to pick up a knockout on my Torkoal. I could protect 2 times, but I ended up going for a double protector because, like I said, with the Perish Song, I'm going to win since I am the slowest Pokemon on the field. And he ends up going for a Surf, which isn't too big of a deal. I don't even know. Well, a Surf, depending on what this is, set-wise, since it's not choice specs, I don't think it would be able to pick up the knockout on my Torkoal since the sun is currently up. But here I go for a double protect because I'm like, if I can just have one of my Pokemon survive, I'll win. So you see, Politoed is the first Pokemon to faint, so that pretty much seals up the deal for me. And like everything's gonna faint here, but it's just like with a Life Orb. If you attack a Pokemon and that Pokemon faints and you faint to Life Orb or Recoil, you still win because you're the last Pokemon to faint. So since I had the last Pokemon to faint, I end up winning that battle. So I actually knew that because I watched a YouTube video earlier this year from VGC 16 about that happening to somebody. So if I was a noob, I would have ended up setting up Trick Room, and I would have lost because Politoed would have been the slowest Pokemon on the field. So good to know your mechanics there. I remember the guy that, like on the video, if you don't, or you want to be the slowest Pokemon. So if I had, for example, a Politoed, or if I have a fast Pokemon on the field and a Pokemon with Thunder Wave, you can paralyze the fast Pokemon so it can become the slowest Pokemon so you can win. So it's good to know your mechanics that way, just so you can plan it out. So my opponent most likely didn't know his mechanics there, or he made a mistake. He could have been like, okay, well, he's going to set up the Trick Room. So he could have made that prediction and ended up blowing up in his face because that could have been the only way he would have won. Because Politoed against a Rangaroo and Torkoal, I don't know if you could have ended up winning. He could have, I have no idea, but good to know your mechanics. Very interesting battle, full of mistakes on my part, full of over predictions as well. I wasted my Z move. I guess he did as well. No, he didn't. No, I'm thinking of last battle. This guy didn't use a Z move. But I felt like I played it decently well. I made some key mistakes. Like if I could have gotten a devastating Dracoff on that Politoed, that pretty much would have sealed the deal, just because he would have been solo. But that's pretty much it. Know your mechanics, don't make new mistakes, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I'm looking for something to switch out for my will again. Hopefully, so I can bring it and have a little bit better matchup against, especially something like a rain team or something. But that's pretty much it. If you guys got any suggestions for me, let me know. If you want to battle me, also feel free to let me know. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.